Hello, everyone. Can you hear us better now? Okay, great. We're sorry about that technical issue. We'll go ahead and try to make up for lost time here. So
to start out with, SOS was founded in 2001. Rather humble beginnings, kind of a tech startup in a dorm room. It wasn't until about 2005, 2006 that we launched to the U.S. market and really started operating on a global scale. And that was also when we got our first PC Mag Editor's Choice Award. So we started off coming out hot, winning our essential first race. And from 2005 to 2008, 2009, our partner program was really pretty light. We had affiliate programs. You sign up, you get a link to sign people up, and you get a rev share. Not a whole lot of strategic benefit behind it, just another something on your list of sign up here and then I get some money eventually. We were, however, working on large, heavy development partnerships with large retailers. And we saw the benefit of this and our growing program and really the growing SMB market and the need for SMBs to have this type of service in place. And we saw that the best value was going through managed service providers and IT service providers like yourselves. So we launched our white label wholesale program in the summer of 2009, and it's just grown dramatically since then. We relocated our headquarters from Melbourne, Australia to here in Los Angeles, California, and we've been growing ever since. So when we were signing only about 10 or 15 partners a month, we're now onboarding well over 100 partners a month. So we've seen dramatic growth in not only our partner program, but our ability to continue to provide more and more services that are going to help you get out in the market and make some money.
So presently we have over 500 reseller partners like yourselves out in the market and over 500,000 active customers who are well acquainted with the SOS Online Backup name. And we continue to develop and improve our technology really on a monthly basis. So as a partner, we get the benefit of our automatic updates for continued software improvement. So why have we gotten into this business? Why have we continued to dedicate ourselves to MSPs? And what is going on with the market? Well, online backup is, of course, being adopted at a very, very rapid rate because of, number one, the expansion of internet bandwidth. It's much more efficient to send large amounts of data up into the cloud now in most regions of the world. There are certainly some exceptions, but that's rapidly changing. Also, decrease of hosted storage costs. It's so much cheaper to store information in the cloud than it used to be, and rapidly becoming even cheaper. Technical sophistication of the population is another big one. People are pretty much aware of what the cloud is. People know what it means to store data safe off-site, and they're much more secure with it than they used to be. Also, you and I are both constantly generating digital data. In fact, we're doing it right now while we're doing this webinar. We're recording it. Of course, we're going to want it. It's an hour of our time and our effort and our work, so we're going to want it to refer to it later. And we're doing that all the time with videos, photos, documents, etc. So let's talk a little bit more about cloud adoption in the near term and what it means for you guys. I'm going to assume that you guys are probably mostly selling to small to medium-sized businesses like CPA firms, medical offices, lawyers, companies like that. If you could give me some idea of who exactly you're selling to, pop it in the questions area, let me know. That would be great. Then we can try to tailor this conversation to you. But more importantly, we have some stats from IDC showing that 16% of companies surveyed were using online backup today. Only 16%. 69% are evaluating it and or planning to use it. That's a huge market opportunity, and given all the reasons that we previously listed, like expansion of internet bandwidth and decrease of hosted storage costs, they're certainly going to be adopting in the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, we're really looking at just a tremendous growth, not just in the adoption rate as far as per business, but also the level of adoption. A lot of the 16% that were surveyed that said they were using online backup were still using it in a limited sense as far as an extended evaluation type of usage. Maybe one of their users, maybe one of their servers, and they were looking to really expand that to be a company-wide policy later on. So as you look at your businesses that are currently out there today, what they may have in place may not be a complete solution. It may only include one strategy that includes online backup. So it's really becoming the centerpiece of your backup solution rather than an afterthought. Like, well, online backup would be nice. Now it's online backup almost becomes the first part of your backup solution, with local backup, image-based backup being your nice-to-have that you can now have with our program for a really low monthly cost.
And that's a great segue into the conversation about what are SMBs looking for. Well, they're looking for a total backup solution. They previously used tape for this. How many of you guys have clients that had previously used tape, or you're trying to move off of tape in online backup? Usually we hear about that pretty frequently. So online backup is now more affordable and more reliable than tape backup. And also, in our case, with SOS ServerSave, it's all-encompassing. You'll be able to provide your clients a centralized management platform, server backup, as well as complete endpoint backup, including laptop and workstation protection.
I want to reach out to everyone and just kind of get a feel, coming to this webinar, obviously we're providing a backup solution. What would you say are the top 2 or 3 things that you're looking to get out of this program? Are you looking for a complete solution? Are you looking for a complete solution that's backed by a complete partner program? Is this your first look into this type of solution altogether? What is it really that we can really look at and help you get to market with?
Mitch says he's having a first look. Good. We're really happy that you're doing it with us. We think you're going to enjoy this demo and this presentation.
And as those roll in, the majority of our partners, a lot of them aren't taking this first look, or they're moving really from some sort of historical backup solution that was very hardware-based, very expensive. Maybe your wholesale cost on just getting started is a couple $1,000s. So that's the majority of the partners we see coming into our program, is just really an eye-opening experience of, wow, I can have all of this for a fraction of what I was paying just for the hardware that was required for the previous solution.
Mitch says it's convenient that I had a customer who has a lot of data and no backup. I face-palmed.
Double face-palm.
We face-palmed for you as well. That was yesterday that I face-palmed. Well, we're face-palming for you right now, and we're glad you're here. So what are small businesses looking for? Well, they're definitely looking for a total backup solution. Just like you guys, they don't want to have to pay a bunch of different fees for a bunch of different solutions and then try to take them all together. They want it from one place, and that's exactly what our reseller program and SOS ServerSave gives you. We give you total business data protection with coverage for workstations, servers, laptops, and even mobile devices. And when we're talking about server backup, this is, again, totally complete. This is for Exchange servers, SQL servers, SharePoint servers, file servers, and this is a bare metal backup tool as well.
Right, and then we have a couple other comments. Mary says to be able to address mobile and multi-device requirements. Absolutely. One of the biggest things that we've seen come out of the last 5 years of studies of, what's going on with the SMB market today. Our business, we're actually seeing a large growth in the private sector, but we're also hearing a lot of feedback and measuring a lot of SMBs going under. And what they found that the majority of SMBs going under, it wasn't in regard to a poor economy. For the most part, it was poor business continuity plans or risk management plans. Business continuity is a much prettier way of saying risk management, but essentially that's what we do. And it's really nice to be able to cover all of those endpoints. So workstations and laptops, currently surveyed by the IDC as well, to host an average of 60% of a business's data. So just having a server-based backup strategy does not mean you come even close to having a total protection solution for your customers, and that's what we're providing for you here today. So we have mobile applications that are going to be branded. We give you a business in a box with our web integration package, so that if you don't have some sort of merchant system available, you can start selling it online. All of your users in the businesses are also consumers. They need this at home too. So why not make a little passive cash by just leaving some leave behinds at your office?
And Mitch, I know you want to make sure that we cover security. We absolutely will, don't worry, and you'll be very happy with it. So the SOS 360-degree partner program, which you guys are looking into right now, is, as the slide says, a total business in a box. And like Derek mentioned, we allow you to sell on the web on your own website template, which will have your own domain. And we offer rebranded sales materials, rebranded marketing materials, and also, big bonus, no hardware purchase required. If you guys haven't looked at other reseller programs before, you will find that most often you're required to purchase hardware, which is a big upfront out-of-pocket cost, and we just don't want you to do that. We want you to be able to get your business up and running and start selling some online backup as soon as you can.
Yeah, and really the only purchase, if you choose to go that route, if you want your own domain, is to register your own domain. And there's $10 a year, really no reason for SOS to own something that has your branding on it. But you can talk more about that with your partner specialists.
And we'll review more about the website template later on in the presentation. You'll see how easy it is to use. You don't have to be an HTML genius to get it going. So some of you have not had a look yet at other reseller programs, but this gives you just a quick overview of features offered by SOS versus Intronis, Doyens, Seagret, and XZ, as well as some of the prices. Some of these guys make it seem like it's very, very easy to get up and running, and we do too, frankly. But the differences in features are pretty stark. There are some limitations often with what you can rebrand and what flexibility you have to rebrand and how. And there's also a lot of limitations in data center locations that we found out there in the world. We have 11 data centers worldwide in the UK, US, Canada, Australia, India, and Ukraine. And if you have specific requirements that you need to keep your data or your client's data in Canada, yeah, you can do that. Just ask. No problem.
Yeah, and then additionally, from what Shannon's saying, join this program, and many of you have joined countless other programs before, whether hardware vendors, software vendors, and I think we can all agree that signing up for the program is simple and easy. It's the getting to market part that's difficult, training your staff, putting out some sort of fulfillment. When someone orders a service from you, how are you going to deliver that service? What type of systems do you have in place to request support tickets from people using your service? It's really this whole integration into your business, your merchant gateway, all this information. And again, focusing on our partner program, we spent a lot of time and effort making sure this is something that we can do or really help you along in. And we got some good questions about security and integration with RMM tools. So I'll take these now. Mitch says, can you address security you guys offer? I had a client who was very secretive and made me sign an NDA just to work with them. Not a problem. We work with government agencies, medical offices, so we have HIPAA compliance. We're really top-notch security. We have a feature called ServerSave, in which case the passwords are not stored in any part of our system, so not even for password recovery. And that's just that's a feature that's required by HIPAA compliance. PCI compliance, yes, we are PCI compliant. Although PCI compliance, as most of you are aware, it's much bigger than what you're looking at for your backup systems. You got to make sure that your customers aren't storing financial data in any sort of, I guess I'll put it in a silly way.
Flash drives and what have you? Flash
drives, just the open files that are just sitting on the desk, that type of thing. So we have some more. Stephen asks, are you working on integrations with RMM tools, specifically LabTech? We are. We've been working on a new code base for the last 8 months, and we just released it in April, so we're really happy with where that's taken us. And we're expecting to start work on some integration with various RMM tools at the end of this summer. So by this winter and maybe late fall, we're going to be rolling out announcements about integration with tools like LabTech, ConnectWise, SpiceWorks, Kaseya, level platforms. So we're really looking at a lot of these systems. GFI Max is also one of those. Thank you, Brad. So we're looking at integrations into a lot of these programs. We just had to wait for our code base to be finished, and now we're rolling out some really good stuff over the next 6 to 12 months. It's really going to be exciting. So, and we'll get more into that at a later time. So moving right along, Brad has another question. Does your system address bare metal and per file capabilities? Yes.
Absolutely.
And going right into the product suite, what does SOS provide currently? Well, starting at the top portion, we have Backup Your Cloud Life, which is actually it was an experimental product that we put out for Facebook backup, and it's currently frozen for now, but we're going to be ramping this back up, and eventually we'll get into Twitter, Gmail, or G backup, because G is not just mail, Facebook, and all these items, and releasing that out. But no ETA for that. It's just some experimental products that we work with, as a lot of firms do, or at least the successful ones. Then going counterclockwise, Backup Your Desk Life. Again, a super underrated portion of your environment. Again, estimates of 60% of a business's data resides on workstations alone, not centralized. Also, despite our best efforts as IT professionals, you get terminal dummy machines. Users are just really good at doing things the opposite way that we've designed it to be done. And that's just the law of the land. So you have a really simple online backup program you can install at each workstation. You can monitor it, manage it, and make sure that your endpoint strategy is really top-notch. And this helps a lot. I mean, even myself, I just came back from our Indian office, and second day back in LA, car gets robbed, had a bunch of drives stolen out of it. Fortunately, I'd been backing it all up. Would have been kind of embarrassing had I not. But it's really good to be able to have an endpoint backup solution, because had I not, and it was all server-based, I would have been in big trouble. I would have done a double, possible triple facepalm. So would have been right there with Mitch. Mobile Life, which is what Marriott addressed. We've just released the generic mobile application. If you search in the iOS App Store for Managed Offsite Backup, you'll find a generically branded application. Unfortunately, Apple did make us publish it under SOS. No DBA allowed. But there's a generic application there. And also, with the Droid application, we're going to be releasing a generic Droid in the next 30, 45 days. And there's always a generic mobile portal that your users can have. So that will provide access to recover and share. Whereas the applications do actually provide a backup tool as well. Backup your file data. It's the same tool that we had for the desktop life, except this is, with the new code base, we've really just blown the competition out of the water. Most online backup programs start to choke when you're talking about recovery, when you get over 1 million or 2 million files in a single backup set, or it just takes a long time. We recently just had a customer with about 7.2 million files in their backup set, and we hadn't actually tested something that large, and it refreshed in about 10 minutes on a T1, and it worked great. So previous to that, we really would have seen some struggles coming along. So the new code base we just released is really performing above our expectations. We're really happy with that. And if you look at our website, you go to SOSonlinebackup.com, we do have a speed test up there that we've done against some major competitors in the cloud backup file and folder arena. And we were easily the fastest on a very moderate or a very humble network connection. That was with the old code base. Our backup speeds, as far as the local procedures and encryption and the other algorithms we use for compression, we've increased our backup speed by about 40%. So we'll be redoing a speed test later on, but we're already one of the fastest in the market, or the fastest in the market, and our new code base just took us a whole level further. Then it gets to addressing Brad's question of image backup. So both the application data and the system data items here, they have we have now an application called Image Creator. So in the SOS ServerSave suite of services, I guess we'll just alliterate that whole phrase there, we have 3 different applications. We have the online backup, which is just to get files off-site to the SOS cloud and back from the SOS cloud. And then you have Image Creator, which is to create images of volume, so the volume-based image system. So you can recover a full image using a boot disk recovery method, or you can just mount the image as a virtual drive. And it's really simple. You don't even have to open the program. You just right-click the image you want, hit Quick Mount, and it'll create a virtual drive for you in seconds. It's very quick, and we'll show you that in a minute.
Yeah, we are going to do a demo here. So let's go ahead and spin through the rest of our features information here, because I think we really just covered it. The SOS ServerSave includes Exchange, backup and granular recovery, Windows backup, SQL backup, SharePoint server backup, file servers. It's a complete business backup solution, and that's what you're going to see in the demo.
Yeah, and Mitch says no Linux love, and officially no Linux love right now. Unofficially, you may be pleasantly surprised later in life. And then again, down the web integration package, we'll go through that in a minute. So let's just open up a quick remote session to our Server 2008 box running R2.
That's a really good question, Sean. We do leverage Shadow Protect. So if you're at all familiar with that system, then you're going to feel very comfortable with what you see. Any other questions? We are more than happy to answer any questions you guys have about the reseller program, about the product. This year, asked if I understood you correctly, there's no major startup expenses. Do we have to purchase the startup package tools? Oh, you're in Norway. That's fascinating. No, there are no major startup expenses. You can elect to pay for your entire program in advance, in which case you'll receive a 2-month discount, but you can also pay for it monthly. And that's just for the software as well as the entire business box package that we talked about.
All right, so just want to make sure everyone's seeing the remote session we have set up now. This is a Server 2008 box. You should be seeing the SOS website. And I just wanted to come here real quickly, because if you go to our support tab, it's a good resource for you, even if you're looking at the program. You can come take a look at our knowledge base, or go to partner chat down below. Again, our SOS partner support hotline, 8 to 5 p.m. Pacific. We do have partner support out of Los Angeles, as well as chat support available 24/5. If you come to our knowledge base, we have a lot of articles about our partner program specifically, so things about the web package, the hosting setup, what can and can't you not do. We also have a bunch of articles here about ServerSave, so the various programs within ServerSave that we discussed, Exchange Granular Recovery, as well as Image Creator, and then just frequently asked questions. How do you set it up? What does it look like? So it's a good resource for you to reference as you talk with your partner specialists and as you use the software. So to start out with, I'll take you through the partner dashboard. So here's our partner dashboard. We have our news and updates, so we can keep you posted. You can subscribe to these via RSS feed or email. Partner rebrand resources, so if we add articles, videos, we'll let you know here. You can expand this to read the whole section, or again, subscribe via RSS or email. We also have the central management and monitoring section, which right now is in a semi-beta phase, just because we released our new code base and we're really building this out. And so those of you who sign up for trials will actually be able to monitor you through here. So if we go to different statuses, we can see missed backup progress event. So the backup was running, maybe it's been frozen or stopped for some reason, it's paused. We have here, backup completed successfully, uploaded 17 files. So you have a lot of information here about the activity of your backups. Back to the dashboard, assigning licenses is rather effortless. You go to Manage Licenses, you hit Assign, and then you type in the username that you'd like to assign a ServerSave license. So no problems there. And then the online backup and recovery portion, this actually is going to link to the back end of your web integration package. So if we open this up in a new tab, we'll notice the URL has changed to our web integration package to our sign up page. I don't have to spend too much time on this, but the web integration package was designed with the intent of saving you get-to-market time and money. A lot of you want integration into gateways so that you can charge people directly for account creation. Well, we've integrated Authorize.net, PayPal Pro, PayPal Standard if you must use it, and eWay for our Australian and our New Zealand-based partners. So all you have to do is come in here, hit Edit, you plug in your information, hit Submit, and you're good to go. No integration work required. You just get your logins from your respective gateway. We've also integrated in the SOS system, so being able to monitor backup users, create accounts, edit account information. For those of you with web development staff or more sophisticated needs or systems you'd like to integrate into, we can provide you with the SOS partner APIs, no problem, no additional charge, and you can work with those with me and my team as you integrate it into your own system. With the merchant system, we also integrated into a bit of a coupon code system. So if you want to do some leave behind coupon codes, you can do that for either a percentage discount for a specific amount of time or a fixed discount for a specific number of uses. So first 50 users, first 10 users, really let you be creative in what kind of things you want to do here. We've also integrated in a content management system for a customer-facing website. So this is CK Editor, for those of you familiar with those types of systems. And if we open this up into the site, we can see that this is what it looks like here. And then when you open up the visual editor, go to home page. You have your SEO metadata that you can set to. So those of you who are interested in working with that type of technology, you're already set up and ready to go. And then we have a very simple visual editor. You can see here is what it looks like in the editor, and this is what it looks live. So it's all designed to be very fast and easy to use and easy to set up so you can get out to market and start making money. So let's open up the software now and go through what the software looks like. So here I actually have ServerSave already launched and opened up. And we have some questions that we'll get to in just a minute. I want to run through this real quickly. So in the application view of ServerSave, and we have Acme that shows here. This is where your logo would appear, and then your product name would show up here, Acme Online Backup. This is our faux example partner. So we log in. This appears upon login, and then we see the various applications. Now, most of you will only have the 3 applications. This workstation backup is a legacy program, and now we just use this online backup and recovery for workstation or server online backup. So we have the online backup and recovery tool. We have the image creator tool, which we discussed, and Exchange Gradient Recovery. I'm going to start off by opening up the image creator tool and going through this. So we have the wizard tab. That just gives us our backup and restore options, and we're going to run through that in a minute. We have our Windows Volume Manager, which you don't ever really need to run through. It's good for information. So here we can see our backup destination is getting pretty full, so I need to clear that out. But any volume management you need to do is pretty much handled in the wizard for backup or recovery. Backup jobs, you can see a backup job that's scheduled here. We can go in and edit this information. We could execute the backup job, or I'm just going to go ahead and delete this.
I do want to encourage anyone to ask any questions while we're going through this demo, and I want to let you know also that our CEO, Ken Shaw, is going to come back in at 11:50, so in approximately 12 minutes, to do a Q&A with you guys. And he's a great guy to ask about industry information and also future initiatives for the company, which of course you'd benefit from as partners.
All right, and one quick question, can you elaborate on internationalization, Bashir, Norway? Well, currently we don't have any plans for what we refer to as localization. So translating the software, creating support for various operating systems. Right now it's an English operating system-based system, but we have just come up with Unicode support. So it is something we are working on, but there's no end goal at this point. So it's something we work on iteratively, but it's not a major target for us. But that isn't to say that it can't become a major target with your business. So feel free to talk to your partner specialist about that and things that you really require to get this up and going in your region. And we'll be more than happy to talk about that. That includes opening up new data centers, translation, all of that. So it's just a matter of how much it's going to cost and the time it'll take to build it.
So we're going to try to get through the rest of the Shadow Protect and then EGR demo, and also, no, we've already done WIP, so we'll get through EGR before Ken gets back in here, and then any other questions that you have about international data centers, security, industry, Ken will be more than happy to answer.
Definitely. So the last tab is backup history. This just gives you a nice backup history of what's happened. Real plain English, so if you have errors, like I'm sure there's some in here. If we go to this one, it's going to tell us below there's not enough space on the disk. Pretty simple to make a change to. You go to your disk map and say, oh yeah, our backup drive is full. Or you go to the backup job and see what's going on. So it's a really nice system. Let's just go ahead and create a backup job. So I select backup, hit next. It's going to ask us, okay, which volumes would you like us to create images of? So I can select multiple volumes or just a single volume. For this demo, I'm just going to select our faux Exchange server. It's a 5 gigabyte Exchange server, pretty massive by all accounts. We hit next, and it's going to ask us, where do you want this image to be created? Where do you want it to be written and stored? For the most part, you're going to do this on some network location. We recommend setting up some Windows 7 black box with enough hard drive space and RAM to handle whatever you're throwing at it. But you want to keep backups not on the machine you're backing up. It just makes a lot of sense. So you create a network destination path here. For this purpose of the demo, we're just going to do it to virtual drive F. So then you come to the classic schedule. Okay, let's schedule a online or an image-based backup. And traditionally, this is exactly how you do it. You do a full backup on Sunday, incrementals throughout the week, and then another full backup on, well, Sunday or Saturday, depending on how long it takes to run. This strategy was used for a number of reasons, but it's no longer really the way you should be running image-based backups. One of the reasons is that recovery of image-based systems used to mean a really long manual process of going in sequential order for each of the incremental backups. So if you had to, let's say if you had a crash on Friday and you need to get to Thursday, you'd have to first go and get the last full backup from Saturday or Sunday, then in sequential order recover Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. A really big pain in the butt. It takes a lot of time. This system doesn't require that anymore. There's an intelligent file chain that it will put together as you tell it, I want to go to this point. So if you have 30 incrementals, 100 incrementals, it doesn't matter, and you'll see that in a minute. Also, if we're going to be taking images off-site, you certainly want to avoid having to push 200 gigs, 300 gigs, 500 gigs over the wire as much as possible. With a continuous incremental system, what we're going to do is we're going to create one full backup. and then we're just going to run the incrementals from that point on until you decide that you want to run another full backup. Typically, you would do that maybe every 6 months, just for whatever reason. Or if you do a recovery of your system, then you'd probably start over. But the continuous incremental is really nice because it means that you only have to put that one huge full image offsite once, and then your daily backup will be able to handle the 1, maybe 2 gigs of incremental changes every day without big issue. You'll handle that overnight, no problem. A couple of hours. You'll also notice that we have VSS. So VSS is how this program runs. So this is how we negotiate with the various databases that are running on your machine. So naturally, some of you may be concerned about, hey, if you're just taking a snapshot of a volume, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm getting a healthy snapshot of that SQL database. Well, VSS ensures that. It's going to negotiate with your SQL database and say, hey, database, you want to finish up what you're doing and don't start anything else until I can take a snapshot? It says, sure. That happens in milliseconds, and everything goes on its very little way.
We also call this transactionally consistent backup.
Right. And it's just a really important aspect of any image-based system. You want to make sure that it is, in fact, transactionally consistent, because if it's crash consistent, well, that means you're putting yourself in a liability to lose data. The double face bomb sort of situation that I nearly avoided and Mitch was in. So continuous incremental, this makes it viable offsite. Some of you are saying, well, viable offsite, sure, what about recovering that data? Recovering 200, 500 gigs can take a long time. Well, we have a couple options. We can recover the drives from our location and then ship it out to you. It still could take some time to do that because we don't just go to our data centers and pull out drives or plug in drives for that matter. Our security doesn't allow that kind of access. But we can ship you out data and we'll recover it usually much faster than your customer could. Or we have a service called Cloud Boot, wherein you send us an order and say, hey, I really need to get this image mounted and I need access to it. So we'll mount that image in our environment and give you an IP address and login credentials so that you can access that information. Of course, you need to write off that you're giving us permission to do so, and that's it. It's a per request fee. It's not something that you pay for or get a credit for, although I'm sure our partner specialist would love to talk to you about that. All right, the compression method, again, we're going to compress the image locally, so standard is about 50 to 60%. High is 10 to 15% higher than that, your choice. You can encrypt the local backup, and you can choose the encryption level, RC4, AES-128, AES-256-bit. We do encrypt the data before we go off-site, and this is just for the local backup. You can do pre-snapshot and post-snapshot commands for those databases that don't have a VSS writer, that won't take advantage of the transactionally consistent backups we have. So those old database programs, usually accounting programs, you can write in a little script, stop database, snapshot, start database, and then like restart database after the backup. Whatever you like to do. Stephen asked to use ImageMentor to verify the chain and help with Head Start restoration. Yes, and if you check out our knowledge base, you can read about that in much more detail. You can split the image, makes it faster for the online backup portion and more manageable across hardware, your choice. Then we hit next, and we get a summary. We hit finished, and then it's going to queue up at the top of the hour. So now that we've created an image-based backup job, let's look at what it would look like to use the online backup and recovery tool to get that off-site. So we load this, log in. Again, we see our logo populate here, product name populate here, and we can go to set up online backup. It's going to first come into a scanner, so we can have a scan all folders, and we have this custom scan field, which is really convenient. You can specify which folders to include or not to include, as well as file types. or you can just say, don't scan, I'm just going to use the Windows tree view. So depending on what environment you're doing, the scan may or may not be helpful or good for you. Then you have a list of all your volumes, see all the virtual drives we have listed. You can select an entire volume to be selected or just parts of it. The square means just something within this directory selected, and the checkbox means anything added to this directory will be backed up in the next sequential backup. Drive is selected, so we can move on from here. That's to take all of our images off-site. You can schedule the backup to run at different times. You can schedule it to run as a Windows service. So if you're on a Windows domain, then you give it your domain credentials so that you can access that data even when the user's logged off. And frequency, really a matter of preference. And then you have your email backup reports. And you can enter multiple reports here. The reports will give you information as far as how many backups are run, or how many files were backed up, how many files were not changed, and then list any of the errors if there were any. For restoration, so we have the files backed up, now we need to recover. So we go to Online Restore, and this is going to refresh according to the date we've selected, and we can go back in time as far as we've had the account. We hit Next, and we get a list of all the machine names that we backed up data from. So we're on Last Demo right now, and we've been backing up drive F. So I can come here to the drive F, and I can see all the names of the files that we've been backing up. So we have all the images here, and we would select, say, the whole chain for backup job 14 if we needed to. And then we recover that to a location of our preference.
I'd like to encourage you guys to start submitting your questions. We are going to get to Ken's Q&A here in a minute after we get through Exchange Granular Recovery. And our VP of Sales, Jeff McCauley, has also joined us. So if you have any questions about pricing, the program, etc., you've got all the right people in the room to help answer them. Additionally, I'd like to mention that in order to be entered in the drawing for the Kindle, you do need to ask a question. So please start submitting them.
All right. So let's just say that we recovered to our backup drive F, and we have the image here. Without opening the software, we can just right-click and say Quick Start. And it's going to choose the next available drive letter, and it's going to mount this as a virtual drive in our environment, and it's going to launch it here. So we've just recovered our Exchange volume to Exchange Drive J. Very simple, very fast. If you need a boot disk recovery environment, there are articles on that, and you can look into that as well. Let's go quickly into Exchange Granular Recovery. So this is used, again, once you have the Exchange data and you want to get just a piece of it. You would first go to Drive J, Exchange, Mailbox, find your EDB file. It's going to automatically select your transaction log directory, or you can change it if you need to. It's going to pull up the data that we have in the recovery file. You can choose to export that to a PST, but more commonly, we're just going to open up a live target Exchange server. So scenario, user comes to you, they've accidentally deleted some files, and they need to search for a specific attachment that was sent to them, and they need it yesterday. So you say, okay, no problem. Let's go ahead and search through this thing. What user is it? You can search through all users or just a specific user. So let's say user 1 comes to us and says, there's an attachment about management that I need. So you select attachment, type in management, find now, and it gives us this list of emails it's found. We open up to verify, we look around, here's the attachment management guide. He says, yeah, that's the one. So we open up the user's mailbox on the live server on the target, and we just drag and drop it into his inbox. And we just recovered that file for him. We could shift select, drag the whole thing in there if we wanted. We can restore an entire mailbox if for some reason it's lost, just drag and drop in. And we can even restore the entire Exchange database to similar or dissimilar hardware by dragging and dropping just the same. So it's a very simple and powerful to use program with Exchange Screening or Recovery. And from there, we'll start taking questions.
Our last unanswered question comes from Mike Ulrich. Mike asks, how do you determine the size of backup initially and incrementals?
G'day, Mike. My name's Ken Shaw. Hello, everybody. My name's Ken. I'm the CEO of SOS. We've got Jeff McCauley here as well, Head of Sales. So we'll dive into these questions in a moment. Mike, I'll start with yours, but a question for everybody. How did Derek and Shaylin do today? A little feedback on my people here. We've got roughly 40 people on the webinar today. Has it been informative? Have we helped answer your questions so far? What other questions have you got? Remember what Shaylin said, to go in the draw for that Kindle giveaway, you've got to use the questions tool. All right, we've got some feedback starting to roll in, which is great. So let's go back and answer Mike's question. Shannon, where was that? I can't see that.
Mike Ulrich is about halfway down. He says, how do you determine size of the backup? There you go, you got him.
Okay, so Mike, generally speaking, everything's sort of a big bucket of storage in the cloud. So every account that we're dealing with here, everything's account driven, has a backup allocation, and as a partner you can set that. So when Derek was going through the demo earlier, you would have seen there's a meter that's used to measure how much of any given backup account has been used. After that, there's really nothing to worry about, because SOS provides for free all of the space required for versioning and all the space required for archiving. So you as a partner get some space in our cloud, roughly 1 terabyte, the most popular sort of size the partners come in at. Then you divvy that up between your accounts. You can see in this case it's a 10 gigabyte account, and on this endpoint the user selected to back up nearly 7 gigs of data. So that's all you need to worry about. It works off the raw size of those files, and you don't need to worry about compression, encryption, versioning, or archiving. We handle all of that for you, and actually provide all the version storage for free. Hope that answers the question. Adish is asking about partner pricing. All right, so let's go to that. I'm just going to change the screen sharing for just one moment so we can go back to the presentation.
And while we're waiting for Ken to bring up that page, this is Jeff McCauley. It's very easy to get into the pricing model for our wholesale program, because it's just based on tiers of what your actual demand is. So we have several points of entry that we make it just most meaningful for you at the time. So if you have, say, 15 server clients that you do business with, and that is most meaningful for you to get in, we have a plan for that. Think of it similar to your cell phone bill, where you would sign up for a certain package, you pay a monthly rate, or annually if you wish, and you just add on as you go. So it makes it very easy to scale, and also gives you a very predictable cost stream to adjunct your revenue stream.
And Adish, to sort of answer specifically, on screen here we've got a grid. Our most popular partner program is the ServerSave 5, which is here, which comes with 1,000 endpoint seats, an endpoint, a laptop or a workstation, or perhaps an iPad or an iPhone, 5 server licenses, physical or virtual, 1 terabyte of space in our cloud. Now, our recommended retail price for what you should sell that to your customers for is $129 per month. Hold that thought, I'm going to come back to that in a moment. But what that means is, for these 5 server seats, if you sell all 5 of those, your revenue is roughly $650 per month, and your cost is $400 a month. You're making $250 a month. Most important thing to note here is this, though. This $129 is absolutely the bottom end price that you should sell this for. Most of our partners are selling it for significantly higher than that. We've got some partners who are selling this one server package for $300–400 per month. And so the way you'd carve this up and sell it to your customers is anchored around a server seat and then a bunch of endpoint seats. There's also, I'm sitting in here, has about 35 employees of SOS here in California. So if you walked into this office, you would sell us a few server seats plus an endpoint seat for all roughly 35 employees. So you might actually sell us 100 endpoints because of the various devices people have got, and a couple of servers. So as an account, an office like this represents roughly a $500–600 a month account for you. That's your revenue. but your cost to us is, well, it's actually broken out. Your cost to us is $80 per server per month. Now, that may have just confused things for everybody, so feel free to ask us more questions on pricing if you've got them.
The nice thing about determining which is the best entry point to select is going through our return on investment analysis with partner specialists. From that, we take the number of customers that you have, the likelihood that they will adopt this technology, and ask you a couple of basic questions, and then from that, the math does its work, and it shows you what your profit potential is, as well as what is the best point to get into this business at. And it's a very brief process on our side. So I would encourage you to call in, or we can have a contact your partner specialist and get that ROI done.
And it really boils down to just two simple numbers, right? The first number is, what do you sell per month to your customer at? Recommended retail price starts at $130 a month. And what do you buy it at from us? Our pricing starts at $80 per server a month, goes down to $30 or $36 per server per month. So with volume, you're paying us $36 a month, and you're making $130, $150, $200, depending upon how you price it. Hopefully that will make sense. So Steve asks, your software can back up to local disk or share in addition to the cloud. Steve, absolutely. So the deployment pattern we recommend is either the endpoint straight to the cloud, or via sort of a local on-premises staging server, we call it. We may actually have a diagram on this. Yes, we do. So Steve, you can see here in this diagram, for small endpoints, laptops, Macs, tablets, you're just going to back up straight to the SOS cloud. The right-hand side of this diagram is the SOS cloud. For bigger data payloads, like maybe a big file server, you back up over the network to some sort of staging device, and then replicate from the staging device to our cloud. And there's a really great sales opportunity for you all, because you can sell this staging device. So you can actually sell it as an appliance, maybe sell that to your customer for $1,000, $2,000, and then charge the backup subscriptions on top of that. So a lot of our partners actually use this model to sell a physical device to their customer as well as the software service. Let me know if you've got any more questions on that, Steve. Merv asks, can you help with competitor comparison pricing, services to my customers? Well, Merv, we've got a good slide in here on wholesale costs, and from that we can sort of bubble up to retail costs for your customers. If you look at other platforms that you can be sort of using to provide online backup, you've got a cost per gigabyte per month factor that you've got to think through. With us, it's 11 cents per gigabyte per month is your cost. And you mark that up, so you might sell it for $1 a month per gigabyte. With, say, if we go to a Segro, the cost per gigabyte per month is $4.80. So that's $60 a year, roughly, in terms of cost. So your markup would have to be higher than that. What it boils down to is this. You can price at the same level as the competition and make a hell of a lot of margin for yourself, or you can use our recommended retail pricing, which is the best price point in the market. Sell a product at a fantastically low price point for your customers and still make roughly 50% margin. So it's really up to you. Do you want to make 90% margin or 50% margin? I've got a question here. Does the backup support Exchange 2010 DAG? I'm actually not sure what DAG is. We support Exchange 2010. This question is from Joel. Joel, Derek's going to get back to you on whether we support DAG, or perhaps you can tell us what the DAG stands for. Forgive my ignorance. But Exchange 2010 is the bread and butter of sort of what our partners are selling. Question here from John, is Exchange 2000 supported? I'm actually going to throw that one to Derek as well. So John, Derek's going to follow up with you about whether Exchange 2000 is supported. The two biggest platforms we're supporting are Exchange 2K7, 2K3, and 2K10, sorry, the three biggest platforms. Exchange 2000, it's certainly not high volume for us. So Derek, if you could circle back with both John and Joel.
Okay. Exchange 2000 that's not supported.
John, there you go. Derek had the answer. Thanks, Derek. Mary's got a question. Notice major competitors including Mozy and Carbonite. Are you focused on B2B only, or are you working the individual, personal, and user markets as well? Mary, about 80% of our users are businesses when you track it through our partners to their endpoints. We do have some consumer users, but they're mainly home offices. Now, the reason we have consumer offerings is that some of our partners, some of the people in your seat, want to sell to home users. So we've got a solution offering that looks like this, and I'm sure the guys already ran this with you, but I'll just run it again for everybody because it's important. This slide, and by the way, you can get this presentation from any of your partner specialists. This slide is sort of a Chinese menu of backup solutions, if you will. What do I mean by that? What it shows across the top is different types of backup you can sell, and down the left, the rows represent the markets you can sell into. So the top row is consumer, next row is micro business, 5 to 100 employees, next row is a small business, then we go up into enterprise laptop fleets and enterprise data centers. Across the top, we've got bare metal cloud backup, bare metal local, application server backup like SQL Server and Exchange, file folder backup, and then finally mobile backup, which we're the only ones doing, frankly. You can draw a circle around any one of these cells that you want, which has the SOS logo in it. So if you're selling to consumers and you want to do file folder and mobile, you can build a business on that. If you're just selling to enterprises and you're selling data center solutions, then you can build a business on that. Most of our partners come through this whole middle segment here, selling to micro businesses up through the small business segment, up to about 1,000 employee headcount customers. Hopefully that sort of answers your question. But everybody should take a look at this slide and sort of figure out where your customer base fits, because this really helps us identify how to best help you get into market. We've got different marketing solutions that are targeted different parts of this graphic. John asks, the tax program Pro Systems told a client that they could not use Carbonite specifically because their data files will corrupt under encryption. Does SOS have this potential issue? Don, I'm not familiar with Pro Systems in particular, but in general, no. We've got a very robust open file backup sort of snapshot engine, which is probably what this is related to. Certain types of snapshotting are what's called transactionally inconsistent snapshots. I don't know if the guys talked about this, and if anybody wants me to explain the difference between transactional consistent snapshots and transactionally inconsistent snapshots, just type a question and I will. But generally speaking, there are certain snapshotting technologies that will tear data, which is no bueno. The SOS system does not. So you can safely use our system to back up all sorts of transactional data, including most income tax systems, whether that's for personal use or for big business use. A lot of feedback here coming about Derek and Shailen's performance. That's excellent, guys.
Thanks for helping us on our review, guys.
Stephen says his last question is about pricing. Steve, did you ask the question about pricing? I don't see it here. Next question is from Mitch. Would love to hear about the security of the backups. Sure. So Mitch, with the cloud backup, everything's encrypted client side. So we have two security models at the company, a standard security model and what we call UltraSafe. If you're using UltraSafe, it's a backup solution that is HIPAA compliant, that's PCI compliant, that can even be used by the US government. Our encryption system relies upon AES as the encryption protocol, which has been certified by NIST for use with both secret and top secret government data. So it's a very robust encryption protocol. And we use private key encryption client side, which is a fancy way of saying there's no way for SOS to get into the data. There's no way for you to even get into the data if UltraSafe is being used. I can go into more detail on that if you've got further questions. Okay, so Brad asks, I'm wondering about how I can implement this on an end-user consumer side in a cost-effective manner, in comparative manner, as opposed to offering live drive. Brad, well, really what that boils down to is if you want to play in the top right-hand side of this diagram, consumer, file folder, and mobile backup, then you need to have a solution that you can sell for between $50 and $150 a year per user, and you've got to have a really low cost per gigabyte on the supply side from us. I'm happy to say we've got one of the lowest cost per gigabytes in the world, and so we've got many, many partners who are running a consumer-driven file and folder online backup business, and so you can actually do that. It really boils down to the economics, no matter how much you're going to sell it for, what tiered storage buckets are you going to use. 50 gigs is the most common usually. And then what's your cost on that? What you'll find is with us, you can make a very healthy living selling to consumers. Jeff, do you have anything to add on that?
No, it's just another point of entry. And when we discuss your particular ROI, we can go into the different strategies associated with that. Because obviously going from a B2B to a B2C, there are differences. And another nice thing, which is a very strong differentiator between the SOS partner model and a competitive partner model, is we have additionally post-sale a business manager. His only job, he doesn't wash cars, sweep the parking lots, anything else. His only job.
We got Jeff for the sweeping of the parking lots and washing the cars.
Only on bad months. On good months, I don't have to. But his job is to assist our partners in coming up with ideas to better enhance their profitability. So that is definitely something that, as you guys come on to our partners, you'll take advantage of. But we can certainly feel that in more depth when you call in.
And Doug actually left the webinar, but he had a good question. And it's related to a question that Jody just posted as well. Do we manage all our backup clients, or is there a hands-off product we can sell and bill monthly? Doug, there's both. And so there are generally, partners can go to market in like 3 different ways. One is completely customer self-service. You've got SOS's award-winning product with all of its very simple user interfaces that you just put on your website and sell it automatically. Generally speaking, that's a lower margin approach. Then at the other end of the spectrum, you have a fully managed approach. You go into the customer site, you do a risk assessment, a data assessment, a data audit, you give them a disaster recovery plan, you implement the technology on premises, you then manage it for them, provide them with reports. That's the fully managed service provider model, and that's usually very high margin. That's where our partners are selling the ServerSave seat for $300, $400 a month and buying it from us at as little as $36 a month, like we saw earlier. And then where I'd say most partners actually fall is sort of right in the middle, where they'll offer it self-service to some of their clients and they'll provide a fully managed solution to others of their clients. But you're really not limited in how you want to go to market from that perspective. Charles has got a question. I have a customer with a single Win 2K8 server with about 60 gigabytes total used. What will it cost my customer per year? Charles, $129 a month is our recommended retail price for that. Now, we're selling it to you for as little as $36 a month, so if you wanted to, you could sell it at a lower point than $129 a month. But what we'd recommend you is mark it up. We'd recommend that you sell it for $150, $200 per month. And it really depends what data is sitting on that server. But generally speaking, businesses, their data is their lifeblood. If they lose that data, they're going to go out of business. So $200 a month is less than the cost of a cell phone bill, which is something Jeff likes to say, a good business cell phone bill in any case. And so is that customer's data worth more to him than his cell phone? I would say yes. And so if you wanted to go list price, the answer is $129, but we'd recommend you mark that up. Charles says, it seems to me that your service is only geared to larger companies. It does not look economically feasible for small companies with only one server. Is this correct? Charles, no, well, not really, no. Most of this partner program is designed for, you the partner. So if your customers only have one server, this is perfect for you, right? Because you can sell a single server seat to each of your customers, and your break-even point is selling 2 servers. So, but also be clear, we've got tens of thousands of just consumers using the product. So there's very inexpensive ways of delivering the product. We've won 4 back-to-back PC Magazine Editor's Choice Awards, which is very much driven by the usability and ease of use of the product. So like I said, you can do a completely self-service low-end model.
And on the contrary, we actually found that our price point and what we're providing is doing the very opposite, where smaller businesses with maybe 1 server and a couple of workstations didn't have any option for such a serious backup solution. Now they do. $129 a month includes 200 gigs of cloud space that you can use for any number of machines, plus a server license. So it actually, completely contrary, it does enable your smaller businesses to actually have a good solution in place.
Atish also asked, can you elaborate on licenses? I'm not sure about the 1,000 licenses as compared to the 5 server licenses. Atish, sure thing. I knew I would have confused matters with that. Really, it's about the server licenses. When you become a partner, even in our most basic partner program, you can create up to 1,000 backup accounts. You're not going to come anywhere close to that, I wouldn't think. The key driver is the number of server seats. So it's a bundled solution. You get 5 server seats and up to 1,000 non-server seats, so workstations and laptops. But usually this top-level node doesn't even factor into sort of the reality of the way our partners distribute this. They hit up against their server limits first. Michael asks, any offerings for IBM Power I? Michael, not at this point, although stay tuned. We've got a whole bunch of technology rolling out toward the end of this year that you might be interested in. Mitch says, where do we find out who our partner specialist is? I don't know if I ever actually signed up, but I was on the mailing list for this presentation and I filled out the form on the website before. Mitch, Jeff McCauley is going to get in touch with you and he's going to introduce you to your partner specialist. So anybody else not know who their partner specialist is? Anybody else like Jeff to facilitate the introduction? Just type in "don't know" into the questions box and we'll get you properly introduced. Stephen's got another question. For file and folder level backup, do versioning, retain backups on date or number of versions. Stephen, we are the only provider who provides unlimited versioning, and we do it for free. So if you've got a file that changes every day for a year, we'll have 365 versions of it. If you store it for 3 years, we'll have roughly 1,000 versions of it, and we provide all of that for free. Joseph says, when a client stops the SOS service, what is done with the client data at the SOS sites? Can it be returned to the client? Joseph, absolutely. They can just download it through the online backup and recovery manager themselves. That's very easy. Mitch asks, are your data centers SAS 70 certified? Mitch, they are. Mitch also asks, and upon request, are you guys able to provide copies of the certifications or stuff like that? Mitch, to you as the partner, yes, we can. Generally not speaking through to your customers.
Yeah, as you know, Mitch, the SAS 70 certifications and actually now with the more robust SSA 16 certifications, right. It is a very detailed report. It is 83 pages to sleep by, but it very clearly defines our business. So if something like that is required, we do ask that an NDA be signed.
Great, thanks, Jeff. Jody writes, I've got various techs working for me. Does a tech have to go to the consumer site to set this backup up? I'm not a technician. Some of the terms I'm hearing are a different language to me. Jody, absolutely not. There's an extremely easy-to-use, user-friendly product. I will lean heavily on the PC Magazine Editor's Choice Awards here and just say that these awards were given to our standalone self-service home office product where there's no tech involvement. It's a 4-step wizard for the customer to set up and use themselves. The product wins awards for its security, its robustness, but also its usability. So you absolutely do not need techs involved to sell this at all. Joel writes, will there be any support for VMware, like backing up BDK files, hold this? So Joel, absolutely. So we're actually going to have, this is a big part of the announcements we'll have later in the year with native BDK integration, which will support ESX and Hyper-V backup. But for now, you can actually back up, so long as you can get that content out of a share on the network, then it can be backed up. Jody's got another question. Do we have to monitor our customers' data from our workplace? Let's say we find it 10 to 20 customers. Do I need an employee monitoring their backups? I noticed one slide earlier that showed various usernames on it. Is this what the consumer sees on their end? To repeat my question, do we need to monitor their data? Jody, you do not need to monitor it at all. It's set and forget. You can monitor it if you want to, and there are powerful monitoring tools available, but you would usually have your customers pay you for such services. Mitch writes, did someone break your website? I keep getting bad requests.
I just pulled it up on my phone here, and it looks like it's working okay. You might press refresh, see if you get it to fix itself.
David writes, ServerSave 5 comes with 1024 gigabytes. If so, is it limited to 1024 gigabytes, or is it the additional storage available at 11 cents per gigabyte? So David, it comes with the terabyte, and then you can add additional storage to it through what we call our cloud space packs. And that's where, yeah, those cloud space packs cost 11 cents per gigabyte. Adish wants an introduction to his partner specialist, same with Merv. Also Jody. Guys, we'll get right on that. Bashir writes, can you brief us on the templates for creating customized websites? Bashir, I might just come back to that one, but yeah, we'll get to that in a moment. Rick writes, can the backup files be accessed via a browser? Rick, absolutely. So within the software or just straight from our website or your own website, there's a link to a portal where customers can log in and access all their files and their data.
Or your mobile browser, for that matter.
Right. It can be accessed on an iPhone, on an Android, on a tablet device as well. Merv writes, in what market segments will I be competing with SOS? Merv, not really any. I mean, we've got customers can go to our website and can buy off our website. 80 to 85% of our revenue comes through our partners, so we really don't do much direct marketing. So we almost exclusively work through the channel. Mitch writes, it's back working. It was screwed up a minute ago. Yeah, Mitch, doubtful it was our website. It's a sort of a globally load balanced sort of failover cluster, so there might have been some network issue going on. I'm not sure. Corey writes, you said a server license gives the customer 200 gigabytes for backups. What if they need more than that? Would they need to purchase a second server license? Corey, you can slice and dice the data however you like. So you could actually give a customer a 1 terabyte account or a 3 terabyte account. Brad writes, do you resell at the suggested retail rate? Brad, the suggested retail rate is 129. Our reseller pricing starts at 80. So the wholesale rate to you is significantly below the retail cost of this product. You've got, put another way, there's a lot of margin built into the program for you, the partner. All right, and that's all the questions we've got, and we're a little bit over time. So we'll wrap up the webinar for now. Derek can answer the question about the templates for the CMS. If anybody else has got any other questions, please ask them now, and we'll stick around and we'll answer any more questions on the line. But for everybody else, thanks very much for your attention today and your attendance. Hopefully you'll join the SOS Partner Program. And remember, if you haven't asked a question, you need to ask one to go in the draw for that Kindle.
And going back to an earlier question about Exchange DAG support, which is Database Awareness or Availability Groups, yes, we do have support for that. And if you'd like the documentation on how that workflow works out, just ask your partner specialist to get in contact with a sales engineer, and they'll be able to get that information for you. But essentially, you would just, Image Creator is a volume-based system, and you point it at the volume that is hosting the DAG, and there are best practices around how to do that.
Great.
And Jody, we will call you regarding your staff meeting tomorrow and make sure that you have all the information you need to be successful with that.
And for templates for the web integration package, we offer 3 templates which your partner specialist can point you to. And within the template, you have a content management system, which is CK Editor integrated into our package. And you can monitor the content and the links, buttons, all the copy, but the template would remain static. If you wanted a custom template that you've designed yourself, talk to your partner specialist about that, or if you'd like a completely custom template, we can discuss that as well, as we do have strategic development and design partners.
Terrific. Well, thanks everybody very much for attending, and have a fantastic day.
Thank you.